Hi, I'm Heidi Emrich. Today I'll be presenting a municipal complex relocation suitability study made for the town of Shandaken. The town of Shandaken's town hall, highway garage, and hundreds of gallons of fuel storage, animal shelter, and recycling center are all at great risk of flood damage. These buildings are located in the 1% annual chance flood zone, and as you can see on the map shown here, much of the site is in the regulatory floodway. That's that section with red slashes, hatch marks through it. That is a high velocity section of the creek. And the Esopus Creek in particular is a very high velocity creek and can reach 14.2 feet per second in the 1% annual chance storm. What does that mean? That's the equivalent of 9.86 miles an hour, which is really fast for water. That has the same force approximately as about 200-mile-per-hour winds. This site is not a safe place to locate emergency operations during such a storm, and the chemical bulk storage and other materials on site are at grave risk of being carried downstream, where they could do physical damage to another property or leach contaminants into this drinking water source. So with that said, the town of Shandaken has made it a priority to locate a new site in town and rebuild their municipal complex, one that's out of harm's way. So this is the town of Shandaken mapped here. All of that green area is all land owned by the state. The town is wholly within the Catskill Park, and so that's what those lands are. Those are mountainous, national state park lands. The white is the areas, parcels that are potentially available for relocation, though many are occupied. The current town hall is pointed out on this map in a relatively central location, and I've highlighted Route 28 for reference, as this is the main access road through town, which connects all of the different hamlets shown here, from Mount Pleasant on the east to High Mount on the west. And that is the preferred reach, to site this new complex. The study is being prepared for our target audience, the Shandaken municipal officials, and for their review and future considerations. But it will also be shared with several other stakeholders. The town is also wholly within the New York City watershed, and there are several partners who will be interested in the results of this study, as they have an interest in reducing flood hazards and preserving water quality. These organizations are the Ashokan Watershed Stream Management Program, the Catskill Watershed Corporation, the Coalition of Watershed Towns, and New York City Department of Environmental Protection. This study will also most likely be the base of future grant applications. So, a bit about the town of Shandaken. It was incorporated in 1804, and its name has Native American origins, and it means lands of rapid waters. Pictured here is the town hall, which has been in use since 1924. The population of town, which the town is over 119 square miles, the population is just 2,866 according to the U.S. Census Bureau. The median household income is 55,000, and the community is designated as disadvantaged. Further, the census tract is in the 95th percentile for flood risk. Now, as the town may be subject to significant flood risk, that also comes with pristine trout streams, scenic views, mountain landscapes, and lots of outdoor recreation. The Esopus Creek, which is the main channel, and then its hundreds of smaller tributaries, they're all part of New York City's unfiltered drinking water system. And of course, we do have environmental concerns when it comes to flooding. The region has experienced some significant flood damage in recent years. Shown here is Route 28 in Mount Tremper area, overtopped by floodwaters in Hurricane Irene, which happened in 2011. Hurricane Lee also hit hard just a few days later. The town also saw significant damage in the Christmas flood of 2020, and in all, they've seen 13 25-year or greater storms in the last 90 years. That's a lot of significant flooding events. It's time to move the town's municipal complex out of harm's way, which will then allow it to be a source of safety during one of these events. The town has set a few particular criteria. One, that the parcel be as centrally located as possible. So folks from High Mount don't have to drive 25 minutes to get to Town Hall, and neither do folks from Chichester or Mount Pleasant. The town serves many little separate hamlets, and each should have access to the municipal complex. The chosen site must be out of the special flood hazard area. In this search, we eliminated parcels which intersected the 1% annual chance flood zone, as that would present accessibility challenges in any case. We did, however, keep parcels that intersected the 0.2% annual chance flood zone. This is otherwise known as Zone X shaded or the 500-year floodplain, so that we didn't just eliminate pretty much all parcels. Additional criteria is that the selected parcel will need to be 500 feet within one of these major roadways. So this meant querying and buffering the New York Route 28 and other county routes, including Route 212, 214, among others. And the current site that the buildings sit on now is 3.4 acres, and it's a little bit of a tight site. So we're looking to have a parcel that's at least 4 acres and, of course, vacant. We don't want to displace anybody. And lastly, anything above a 15% grade is not traditionally buildable. So this study conducted a visual inspection to rule out such parcels. Now let's get into that methodology. Admittedly, this slide is a lot to look at, but it demonstrates the various feature layers used in the analysis, including roadways, municipal boundaries, the Ulster County tax parcel data, lands owned by New York State, the New York State building footprints to help identify occupied lands, and of course the FEMA National Flood Hazard Layer to ensure the parcel is not at risk of inundation. And finally, the USGS 1 meter slope tile layer. So how do we put all this together? This is the workflow. This is kind of a lot to look at and a lot to fit in one slide, and it's not even truly complete. There were a lot of nuance as we went through this analysis, but we did query layers to make sure that all the parcels selected were in fact in the town within the town bounds, and that we were selecting parcels only larger than 4 acres, and that parcels were not owned by the state. And then we queried the National Flood Hazard Layer to just target the special flood hazard area and eliminated any parcels that intersected with that. Then we put a buffer around our major roadways and eliminated any parcels that didn't intersect with that. And finally, we took a look at steep slopes, and that needed a visual inspection because some parcels were quite large. So some parcels might have very steep slopes on part of them, but gentle slopes on others. We'll see that in the next slide. So we prepared 4, you see 3 here, but 4 total maps, which identified areas in town that had potentially eligible parcels. And I used these maps to determine either are they too far out of town, are they flag lots and maybe have accessibility issues, or as you see indicated in these maps, the brown is the 15% slope. Is there a lot of steep slope on this parcel? And by 15%, I mean 15 or greater percent. We have quite steep cliffs and mountains in this area. The first one you see here is a parcel in Pine Hill. We'll review this in a little bit. The second set of parcels, these are parcels actually that have been on our radar and we had been looking at. As you see, the bigger piece there, the highlighted in blue, that's a 259 acre parcel. And while much of it is in the brown, there's probably about 40 acres in the front that are, relatively gentle slopes. And same for these other parcels as well. So we kept them in the list. Then you have parcels in the area of Alabin. This one surprised me. It is located almost directly across the current town hall. So centrally located, we already know this is a good area to site a town hall, and there is a plateau right past the flag of the lot, if you will. The issue with this is that it is a flag lot, so we'll discuss that in our final summary. And this is probably the most preferred set of sites in a very low area out of the special flood hazard area. These are sited between the hamlets of Mount Tremper and Phoenicia, bigger population centers in town. So we'll give a good look at these. So we narrowed down our study. one to the 38-acre parcel in Pine Hill. It is a little further west than we preferred, but it is reasonably flat. And Pine Hill is quite a new, bustling little town. It's really coming back to life. So there's some potential there for consideration. Big Indian, those parcels are not near any other residential areas, which is nice for the highway garage and things like that. There's a lot of high visibility with these lots on the Route 28 corridor, but the only problem is these lots also have a large utility line going through them. So more deed research would be needed to see if they're actually viable. That parcel in Alabin, again, centrally located, that's a really nice highlight. It's right off of 28. The issue may be that flag lot. There seems to be enough width there to get up and into the parcel. The parcel is a little bit higher. There is a bit of a steep slope just at the front. So, but there seems to be enough width that you could, meander a driveway up there, a little switchback. Have to be nice and big and wide. You'd have to have a sign down below. So it doesn't give you the visibility you want, but it has the location you want. So it's worth considering. And then finally, that parcel and set of parcels between Phoenicia and Mount Tremper. These are really ideal. They are cleared pieces of land. They are flat. They have very high visibility. They are located near the two most populated hamlets, and they're actually very close to some recreational areas as well. So that gets our highest recommendation. And I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to present the study findings. The report has a complete set of maps and a complete set of references. And as you see here, these are references used in the presentation. Thank you very much.